everybody, my name is Chris, and I'm an electrician with Power-Tek Group, here today to go over our asbestos policy as part of our ongoing series on Power-Tek's safe work practices. Let's get into it. Many of you will already be familiar with asbestos and the danger it poses to everybody around you. But let's go over some of the basics to make sure that everybody is on the same page. First of all, what is asbestos and why is it dangerous? Asbestos was a construction material used in buildings built before 1970 in various materials, mostly in fireproofing and insulation. It is a natural material consisting of fine strands of the asbestos mineral, which can lodge itself in your lungs if it becomes airborne. Exposure can cause deadly illnesses over a long period of time after exposure, including various types of cancer, mesothelioma, and asbestosis, all of which are potentially fatal. You should always be aware of when to suspect its presence. First of all building owners and contractors are required to inform the contractors if they are aware of any asbestos present on a work site. This does not include residential homeowners, so be aware. You will have to consider, was the building built before 1970? If it was built after 1970, there will be no asbestos present. Is it a structural steel frame building? Are there high-pressure steam lines or other equipment exposed to extreme conditions such as high temperatures or corrosive environments? And are there any substances present which easily fall apart or crumble, a property known as being friable? If the building you're working in was built before 1970 and you suspect that asbestos is present, you should first stop work. No one at Power-Tek is qualified to be working on asbestos without a safety plan in place. Next, you should contact your supervisor. They will get the ball rolling with management to contact the constructor or building owner and request that testing be done or proof of testing be provided. Work can only continue when written proof has been provided stating that there is no asbestos present. A copy should be kept on site. If asbestos is detected, you should leave any contaminated tools where they are and leave the area. You should advise any other workers on the site and enforce a stop work action. And you should contact your supervisor to inform them of the hazard and that you have started a stop work action. The supervisor can bag potentially contaminated tools if they feel it is safe to do so before an asbestos expert arrives on site. From here on out, work can only proceed as prescribed by Power-Tek's asbestos procedure. The supervisor, management, SP Safety Solutions, and one of our owners must be notified of the hazard. The supervisor, management, and SP Safety Solutions must work together to create a written plan and sign off on that plan for how the work can be done safely. This plan must be followed to the letter at all times. And finally, a safety talk should be held before any work starts, including the worker and supervisor, which goes over this plan and includes a refresher on working with asbestos. Under this policy, each of the parties has their own responsibilities. Management is there to ensure that all workers and supervisors have been educated and refreshed annually on the content of this policy. They must provide supervisors and workers with all necessary tools and PPE that will enable the workers to follow this procedure. They have to communicate with the building owner or general contractor and notify them of potential identified hazards, solicit testing reports, and inform them of Power-Tek's asbestos policy and state of the work. Supervisors are there to provide workers with instruction and emphasize the importance of this policy in that instruction, as well as provide any additional tools or equipment that may be needed to perform the work safely. Ensure that the company's safe work practices are being followed at all times. Ensure that the necessary signage is present at all work areas where necessary to prevent access by unauthorized personnel. And also ensure that the cleaning is done of all reusable PPE, equipment, or tools that may have been contaminated with the hazard before it was identified. Workers are to know and abide by all the rules and recommendations of this policy at all times. Comply with any and all signage and safe work practices required by management, the supervisor, or SP Safety Solutions. Work in the buddy system and be prepared to educate or challenge their buddy's work habits and receive feedback from their buddy on their own work habits, as well as actively participate in any safety talks, posting of signage, or preventing unauthorized personnel from accessing the area. They should also participate in identifying hazards before starting any of their work. They should turn over any tools or equipment that may have been contaminated to the supervisor. and do not access any contaminated areas except where approved by the supervisor following the safety plan, as well as inspect and wear all of their required PPE. That concludes our review of Power-Tek's asbestos policy. I feel much safer, and I hope you do too. Have a good one.